Welcome to another edition of MLW here in TEW 2020. As we're continuing that save, it's the night after Devil's Night. We have a new MLW champion, which we'll find out here in a couple minutes, and lots of other fun stuff going on as it's a quick run up to King of the Kings, which is our next show, which is only happening in a month. So let's get rolling. Basically, we start off the show like, post Devil's Night. It's Devil's Night, right? Yeah. We're basically, the Extreme Horsemen are backstage. It's Corino and Diamond by themselves. Corino's basically, very upset. He's saying, I got screwed. I got screwed harder than a Florida whore out on the beach. Because, heel heat, because we're based in Florida. Why not? And I'm still the MLW champion, even though somebody else has it around my waist. And I already talked to MLW officials, and I will get my rematch, and I will get that belt back, and Major League Wrestling will rule the day it pissed off the Extreme Horsemen. 62, solid promo, there we go, good stuff. So we open up the show with our standard issue, cruiserweight match, or light heavyweight match, or a flippy dude match, as Annabelle had decent action in the crowd, but subpar wrestling. Puma defeated Delirious and M-Dog 20 in 7:01. When Puma pinned M-Dog 20, this gets a 42. Delirious gets a 46, M-Dog 20 gets a 33, Puma gets a 34. A little backstage, Delirious was unhappy about jobbing, but he was also unhappy after being kept strong, so guess what? He didn't be kept strong. That's what happens. Except that you're going to job sometimes, Delirious. So after the match, Puma celebrates, which is a 29. I just gave Puma the win because honestly, he and Bayou Gantz have dropped so much that I can't feel bad about it. And, a random win isn't the end of the world. Even though it is, kind of a scumbag under that mask. But hey, he's not a scumbag yet. Then we have basically, highlights from the show last night where Danielson and Matt Sydal had a really... Oh, God, son of a bitch. That should be Matt Sydal, not Matt Martel, but what can you do? Okay. Then we had Jason Cross promos, saying he's basically going to do his best, and, he didn't quite, win against Simon Dime last night, but he's going to keep on going, and he's going to do his best to become a champion here in Major League Wrestling, and prove that he's one of the best independent wrestlers that you've never heard of. This gets a 28, perfectly solid promo. And then we have in a bout that had decent reaction from the crowd, but subpar wrestling, Roderick Strong and Chris Hero defeated Matt Martel and Norman Smiley 5-31. When Chris Hero pinned Matt Martel with a Hero sandwich, this gets a 40. Hero gets a 38. Strong gets a 43. Smiley gets a 32. Matt Martel gets 29. And the point of the match is basically put Strong and Hero over as a new team. And then as we move forward, Strong and Hero celebrate, which gets a 43. Then we go backstage, where basically the whole Hart Foundation, including Val and Neidhart backstage, and they, they didn't have the best show, last night. They're not the tag champions. They didn't bother giving me the SAT, but, they're going to rework themselves. Teddy Hart says, he's like team with everybody, but he's going out on his own, because they're still junior heavyweight champion. He thinks he can win. And then basically TJ Wilson and Harry agree on teaming, and Jack Evans is sort of like left alone for the moment with nothing else to do. So this gets a 26. Because again, these guys aren't quite over yet. And then we have Low-Ki Homicide highlights, ending with, of course, Homicide getting the big win over Low-Ki. Then we have Verno having in-ring and doing an open challenge. That brings out Micah Modest, who's been gone a couple months because he's been wrestling over in Japan every time we've had a taping. So welcome back, Micah Modest. And in our big match for the night, and about that good heat and decent wrestling, Verno defeated Michael Modest in 14-3 by pinfall to the Verno driver. He makes defense number 1 of his World Junior Heavyweight title. So this gets a 54 as a new champion, prove he's a fighting champion. Verno gets a 55, Michael Modest gets a 42. And then we go backstage. Why? Why are you happy? God damn it, Low-Ki. Erg. This way you don't give the belt to Low-Ki. For those who can't see the red text, a clearly unhappy Low-Ki threw in several shoot comments and references that were both uncalled for and left 99% of the audience confused. So this gets a 40, because A's were poor when trying to probably improvise the shoot comments. So it's supposed to be that he's talking about being the new Shocking World Champion, and that he's he's happy to face Steve Corino and defeat him again one-on-one. But he probably said something wacky about, being the toughest guy in Major League Wrestling and nobody else can take him on a shoot, blah, 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 probably bullshit like that. So that gets a 40. And overall, this gets a 41. So we still increased popularity in one region, which isn't too bad. So usually this would go on to the next taping, but I just got to check them out. I just want to see how upset Low-Ki actually is. So this is going to take a moment. Doo-ba-doo-ba-doo-ba-doo as it loads up. Doo-ba-doo-ba-doo-ba-doo. First, let's look at some mail. Okay. Yeah, this is the same stuff. So let's look at Low-Ki real quick. Okay. Why is he angry? Okay, so he's unhappy he jobbed a Homicide, but he's... Here, let's give you 2,500. Wait, how much is his contract? His contract is... Okay. So you get 2,500. Okay, let's try giving you 2,500 again. And probably too much, but there you go. Take $10,000. Shut up. You're a world heavyweight champion. Jesus Christ. See, this is the downside of having somebody with an egomaniac personality. But, you know, we'll deal with it because he's fairly over and we can figure something else. But anyway, in a second, we'll be back with the second show of the taping as we start off the road to King of Kings. And, yeah. Also, just real quick, what I'll do as some pre-booking is, yeah, it won't be, like, officially announced till the start of the next show, but just so it's on here. Rematch, Steve Corino, Low-Ki World Heavyweight Championship. But I'll see you in just a moment with the second show of the cycle as we continue the road down to King of Kings. Alright, now it's time for the second show of the taping as we're continuing on the road to King of Kings. As it starts with the Homicide promo in the ring where he basically makes fun of Lynn. He says, you know, yes, you're right, I took you out, bleeper. I took you out because you're an old man who doesn't deserve to be in this ring anymore. It's my time now. And I'm going, and you should just stay home, up in Minnesota, enjoy the cold weather, while we make a new form of wrestling. If you come in here, you'll just face another 187. 48, solid promo. Then we open the show where we're about to have decent action from the crowd, but Power Wrestling, Chris Hero, and Roderick Strong defeated the Stampede Bulldogs in 909 when Roderick Strong pinned Harry Smith gets a 43, TJ gets a 40, Harry Smith gets a 29, Roderick Strong gets a 47, Chris Hero gets a 37, and then Strong and Hero called the Havana Pitbulls for the World Tag Team titles. Yeah, these guys aren't the best promo guys, so what can you do? But still, this gets a 32. Oh, shit, okay. So, Ekmo is here, and he calls out Sabu for tonight. So this gets a 43, and sets up something later. Then we got a wacky cruiserweight match, as anybody had decent action from the crowd, but Power Wrestling, Teddy Hart defeated Joel Maximo and Bobby Quance in 703 when Teddy Hart pinned Quaddy Quance, so back and forth, wacky, you know, high flying, gets a 40, Teddy Hart gets a 31, Joel Maximo gets a 41, and Bobby Quance gets a 35, so Teddy Hart gets a big win, and then Teddy celebrating gets a 23, so, you know, nothing too impressive, but still gives him a win as he's now in the Cruise Junior Heavyweight division. Then we have a promo where Vedder is quote-unquote on the road, where he has a guitar, and he's looking for his bandmates. This is going somewhere, I think. Maybe, if I find the right people. I know somebody said Jimmy Rave, but I think he's not even debuted yet, or he's, like, really not over. And also, remember, I'm trying to avoid, like, well, not totally, because obviously I have, like, McGuinness and Danielson, but I'm trying not to, like, basically, like, cut and paste the ROH roster over here. But I'll see who's available and go from there. But anyway, this gets a 39, because Vedder's actually not terrible on promos. I just haven't done much with him. Then we go to our next promo, which is sort of a big promo. I mean, it's only gets a 41, but only because it goes 4 minutes. So Ekmo comes to the ring, calls out Sabu again. Lights go out. When lights come back on, Sabu isn't there, but Samu is in the corner, sort of like on his ass, with a crown of thorns on his head. Ekmo freaks out as the crowd pops, and there we go. 41. And then in our main event, which is sort of thrown together, in a good match, Bryan Danielson and Homicide defeated Nigel McGuinness and Matt Sydal in 1801 when Homicide pinned Matt Sydal with 187. So, you know, back and forth, really good match, but at the end of things, Nigel and Bryan begin fighting on like basically the outside of the ring, and Homicide is able to hit Sydal with a 187. That gets a 59. Matt Sydal gets a 51. Nigel McGuinness gets a 56. Homicide gets a 49, and Bryan Danielson gets a 58. And then end the show, which gets a 54. Nigel and Bryan brawl. Homicide is standing tall when out of nowhere. Jerry Lynn comes into the ring, slips behind him, kick to the gut, cradle pile driver. Crowd pops, 54, and looks like Jerry Lynn isn't quite done with Homicide yet. So we finish the show, and we get a 51. That's one of our better TVs ever. I'd have to double check, but I think that's really one of our better TVs. Regardless, we move on, and I'll see you in a second with the second show of the taping. And now it's the go-home show for the go-home show, which I realize is silly to say, but I just had to say it because I thought of it for a second. But anyway, we start off with Jerry Lynn backstage after attacking Homicide at the end of last week's show, where he goes, "Homicide, you think one little attack could kill me? I fought with broken bones. I fought with no cartilage in my knee. I fought when the doctor said I might die. So you think one little attack is going to take out me? Forget about it. I'll be here, and I'll be facing you at King of Kings, and I'm going to show you that this old dog still knows all the tricks." 53, perfectly solid promo, and yeah, sets up the another match. Again, we don't need to set up these matches for sake of the actual game, but this helps as far as getting my booking through. But yeah, 53, really solid promo. Lynn is getting over. Then we start out with another basically triangle junior heavyweight match. As in a decent match, the Amazing Red defeated Jose Maximo and Puma in 7:31. When the Amazing Red pinned Puma with the code Red, this gets a 52, Amazing Red gets a 62, Jose Maximo gets a 46, and Puma gets a 33. So that Puma push lasted for approximately, let's check, one match. The Amazing Red celebrating gets 57. Red might actually become like a main event guy, just sort of by accident. And then we have a quick Havana Pitbulls promo where they basically, accept the challenge of Hero and Nigel. Oh, it's supposed to be Nigel. It's supposed to be Strong Nigel, and whatever shit happens. Anyway, it's still put through the storyline. Regardless, they say they face the best tag teams in Major League Wrestling, and if Hero and Strong just think because they've had a couple matches together, they can take the titles off of them. Well, they've got another thing coming. So again, sets up that match for King of Kings. Roderick Strong Chris Hero, Ricky Reyes, Rocky Romero for the Global Tag Team Crowns. Then we move forward where we have a Bryan Danielson promo where he basically says, "I'm still the best in the world, and Nigel McGuinness, you think just because you've had some fun matches in front of these cretins that you can defeat me? Well, I've wrestled in Japan, I've wrestled all over the world, and Nigel, a King of Kings, I'm going to prove to you I'm the best in the world by tapping you out right in the middle of that damn ring, and then move on to more important stuff. More important matters in my life. Because I'm Bryan Danielson, I'm the American Dragon, I'm the best damn wrestler on the planet, and Nigel, you're just an English guy." So, again, it's almost like... So we got Danielson versus Nigel and stuff. Pre-book that. Then we move on to basically Sabu video. 42 basically, hey, Sabu, he's done some fun stuff, hasn't he? Then we go on to our next match, which is sort of like, it's mentioned by the announcers that, Sabu, isn't great at finding partners, so he found basically the first guy he could drag here from backstage, and that's who his partner is. So, in a wild brawl, in a decent match, the Samoan Island tribe of Ekmo and Mana defeated Sabu and M-Dog 20 in 7:40 when Mana pinned M-Dog 20. This gets a 46, M-Dog 20 gets a 23, Sabu gets a 50, Mana gets a 37, Ekmo gets a 49, and basically, M-Dog was the one kind of guy who could kind of do a brawl, but, it ends with Sabu and Ekmo brawling. And what happens here is Ekmo and Sabu keep fighting, and as we go into sort of we're going to a backstage area, and Ekmo sends Sabu through some sort of structure that crashes, and a whole bunch of pipes and stuff falls on him, and yeah, he gets a bit of a revenge for what happened to Sabu last week. So 48, and yeah, it'll officially be announced, after the commercial that Sabu will face on Ekmo in a Crown of Thorns match. So, let's just say Crown of Thorns, singles, average, ring regular, average, low, sure, no, so this is item retrieval. Weapons. Thumbtacks. Sure. There we go. Ekmo versus Sabu, Crown of Thorns match, fun times. Then we have a Corino Diamond Ring where Corino's basically still conspiratorial, where he's like, I'm still the world champion. There's nothing else you can do about it. Low-Ki, you're just a paper champion. You got lucky. I never signed to face you. It's all bullshit. MLW is bullshit. So just come out here and fight me right now. 63, and Diamond's there in the background doing Simon Diamond things. And then in a good match, Low-Ki and Matt Sydal defeated Steve Corino and Simon Diamond in 15:59. When Low-Ki pins Simon Diamond with the Key Crusher 99, this gets a 63. Diamond gets a 53. Corino gets a 64. Sydal gets a 50. And Low-Ki gets a 57. And what happens afterwards is Low-Ki, is celebrating when Corino comes out of nowhere, drills him from behind, and then hits the old school explosion on him, and holds up the MLW title, and then throws it down on Low-Ki, saying, I'll be coming for that in a couple weeks. This gets a 65, really good stuff, and really building the world title program. And this show gets a 59. Good stuff. So yeah. And I'll see real quick, I'll double check our top 10s, because I think that those were like two of our better TV tapings. So we'll wait for this to load up, and then we'll move on to our last show of the tapings. So just to make sure, top 100s, okay. So yeah, that TV taping was, okay, so cool. Anyway, be back in just a moment with the final show of the TV taping, and then of course, MLW King of Kings. So see you in just a moment. And now welcome to the go-home show for MLW King of Kings. As we start with Low-Ki in the back, where he basically goes, Corino, I won this title fair and square, right in the middle of the ring. A true warrior should always be ready for whatever competition is thrown from. You are not. But MLW officials said I had to face you one-on-one, and at King of Kings, I will prove once and for all, I am the one true MLW World Champion. And after I kick your head off, there's nothing you'll be able to say about it. 48, solid promo, builds that up. And then we had Jack Evans and Delirious are in the ring, sort of waiting for their opponent, when all of a sudden, Sanjay Dutt's music hits, and after a couple months off due to a broken freaking leg, I think, Sanjay Dutt is back in MLW. This gets a 38, and we go into the actual match, which gets a 48, where Sanjay Dutt, in a decent match, defeats Delirious and Jack Evans in 7:51. When Sanjay Dutt pins Jack Evans with a Sanjay Star Press, this gets a 48, like I said. Sanjay gets a 50, Delirious gets a 43, Jack Evans gets a 44. Then we have a promo real quick where Sanjay basically says, he wants, get his title shot that he never got because of injury. That leads American Red and the Amazing Red and Teddy Hart to come out and say, they both had big wins this month and they deserve a title shot, when all of a sudden, Averno comes out with a ladder, points to his title, and there we go. Title match for King of Kings. So, 1 versus 1 ladder. Averno, Teddy Hart, Sanjay Dutt, Amazing Red for the World Junior Heavyweight title, a big old ladder match. Only gets a 37 because, look at these guys. Can any of them talk? Not really. Then we go back to stage where basically Sabu and Ekmo are still brawling, and MLW officials basically have to try to break them up. And that gets a 49 as one final little bit of hit before the big show. Then we have in a decent match, Roderick Strong defeats Ricky Reyes in 8:39 by pinfall. This gets a 45. Roderick gets a 46. Ricky Reyes actually gets a 45 because he's actually a pretty decent worker. And then Strong and Hero celebrating gets a 42 as we build up their their global tag team crown match at King of Kings. Then we have Vedder still on the road. This time he's at a guitar store. And we sort of end the promo, or not end the promo, but we sort of end the video with somebody tapping him on the shoulder and Vedder being surprised. So this gets a 35. And then we have Nigel responds to Danielson. He says, Sunshine, I may not have wrestled all the world like you have yet, but I fought you in battles. I fought in front of little crowds, carnival crowds of 150 children who only cared about fake undertakers. I've wrestled in front of huge crowds who cheered my every move. And Bryan, I'll prove that I'm just as good as you are in that ring. At King of Kings, we'll see who the true king of the technical wrestling ring is. 57, really good promo. Nigel's actually really getting over. And then we have our sort of main event and sort of setup for the title match. In a superb match, Low-Ki defeats Simon Diamond in 15:30 by pinfall the Kid Crusher 99. This gets a 66. Low-Ki gets a 62. Simon Diamond gets a 55. And then Low-Ki standing tall gets a 59. And then we end the show. This gets a 57. And yeah, solid stuff. Oh, shit. I totally forgot. I forgot to set this only for 1 week of taping. Okay, I'll be back in a second with this, so this will be interesting. And yeah, okay, be back in just a moment. So, as a special little thing, I guess you guys can see the first show of the new year, since I fucked up and forgot to make this only a 1 week taping. So let's roll with our totally spoiler-free post King of Kings show. So this is basically like just Kevin Kelly, this is a special show for the beginning of the year as we go over the year in Major League Wrestling. So this gets a 48 as it highlights Steve Corino, Sabu, and Verno gets a 48. Then we have opening match where in a decent match, Matt Sydal defeats Jason Cross, TJ Wilson, and Jack Evans in 14:04 when Sydal pins TJ Wilson with the Dragon Rana. This gets a 51. Cross gets a 50. Matt Sydal gets a 54. TJ Wilson gets a 38. Jack Evans gets a 42. And then Matt Sydal celebrating gets a 53. We have Ekmo highlights, basically the whole year of Ekmo destroying people, including Terry Funk and possibly Sabu. That gets a 53. We have a sexy Val video, just because why not? That gets a 22. We have a Bryan Danielson highlight package in highlighting his run as best in the world. That gets a 54. Then we have the SATs defeating Matt Martell, Enormous Smiley in 6:37. That gets a 40. Jose gets a 41. Joel gets a 43. I don't really care about Norma or Matt. And then the SAT celebrating gets a 38. Then we have the Extreme Horseman video going over their long world title reign. Simon Diamond's highlights, D'Lo Brown, even though I can't choose him because he's not part of the roster, but they're basically run at the top of the promotion. That gets a 49. Then in our quote-unquote main event, Sabu defeated Delirious in 11:49 by pinfall the Arabian Facebuster. That gets a 46. And the show ends with Sabu celebrating, which gets a 44. So that's a 43, which isn't our best, show ever, but sometimes you have to do what you got to do in order to push stuff forward. So that was kind of silly, but I'll be back in just a bit with King of Kings. I'll make sure there's no other weird storyline, so yeah, okay. So I'll be back in just a moment. Time for an emergency breakthrough as I sim to the King of Kings because I just got this message. Steve Corino has a fucking broken leg. Holy shit. Like, that's just hilarious. So we go to medical. Steve Corino's out for 5 months, 3 weeks. So just because I'm curious, let's pull up old Steve's match history and see who screwed him over. So, oh my fucking god. Oh my fucking god. Disco Inferno? Disco fucking Inferno? That is the most, like, I would accept it a 0-1 thing. Like, if, he was in a match with, Hiroko Shinaka or, I don't know, one of these actual, like, wrestlers, that would have been fine, but he got his leg broken by Steve Corino? Oh my fucking, okay. So, obviously, this is called Jesse has to do some fun with pre-booking. So pre-booking, this match is now done. We're moving it. And there will be a new main event, which we will figure out on the fly. Yeah, I don't know. Something wacky has to happen. But you'll see that on King of Kings in just a moment. But I had to break through in the sort of, what's I'm looking for, in the simming here just to show you guys. So yeah. Be back in just a moment. Alright, now it's time for MLW King of Kings 2004 on the last day of 2004 here in the game, as we're in front of 1,734 people at MGM Studios in Orlando, Florida. So the show starts out with Kevin Kelly basically opening the show and explaining things about Corino being injured, and that, there will be a replacement for Low-Ki's world title match, but then Corino, JT Dillon, and Simon Diamond come down, and, Corino's on crutches, and he, says, obviously, he was injured by some dancing idiot, but, you know, obviously his stablemate should replace him. Low-Ki comes down, points out that he beat Simon Diamond, you know, on Underground just a few days ago. And, you know, Kevin Kelly does, like, put through the fact that, you know, actually, yes, MLW said that, you know, that Low-Ki will have a replacement. It won't be one replacement for Corino, but two replacements. Matt Seidel and Jason Cross come out. And then Simon Diamond comes in, like, to start sharing it, but Low-Ki kicks his face off. And we're on for our opening match, which is going to be the world title match. So this gets a 53, sets up things, you know, because basically, you know, Corino's still injured, but, you know, had to get him on the show. Hopefully, thankfully, even with a broken leg, he can still show up on shows, but here we go. So with 53, let's move on to our opening match, which is for the world title. As in a good match, Low-Ki defeated Matt Seidel and Jason Cross in 12:42 when Low-Ki pinned Jason Cross with a key crusher 99. Low-Ki makes defense number 1 of his world title, so this gets 62. Low-Ki gets 61, Matt Seidel gets a 56, and Jason Cross gets a 52. So yeah, this is just a straightforward match. You know, just puts Low-Ki over, since obviously he was going to beat, you know, Steve Corino, sort of set him up as, you know, the world champion. But now we got we got something, you know, far in the future to sort of set things up. But Low-Ki celebrating gets a 62 as well. And as we move forward, in a decent match, Delirious defeated Bobby Quance, Jose Maximo, Jack Evans, Mike Gamados, and T.J. Wilson in 10:13 when Delirious pinned Bobby Quance with a panic attack. This gets a 48. As a quick thing, Joel Maximo broke his arm, so that sucks. But yeah, this was just your, you know, standard issue flippy match. Delirious gets the big win. And then afterwards, Jack Evans and T.J. Wilson actually argue post-match because they got in each other's way during the match. Oh, that's supposed to be, not Teddy, that's supposed to be TJ. But Natty gets in the middle of them and, you know, sort of breaks them up. This gets a 30. Then we have an extremely short match. Vedder defeats Puma in 4:14 by pinfall with a whip flash. This gets a 36. Just a match. Honestly, this was just a match as we have some space between the two high-flying matches. So it puts Vedder over for a quick win. Vedder gets a 47. Puma gets a 36. And Vedder celebrating gets a 43. Then we move on to our big four-way ladder match for the junior heavyweight title. As in a decent match, Verno defeats Teddy Hart, Sanjay Dutt, and the Amazing Red in a ladder match in 14:40 when he retrieved the title. So, you know, obviously lots of big spots. Everybody takes a big bump. Not quite a stump bump, but, you know, some sort of bump off the ladder, through the ladder, off the top rope. Lots of flips, but in the end, Verno survives and wins the match. This gets a 60, Verno gets a 59, Teddy Hart gets a 31, Sanjay gets a 49, and Base Brent gets a 62. And then Verno Red celebrating afterwards gets a 45. Then in our sort of match that I honestly sort of dropped the ball of booking near the end, but basically, you know, Jerry Lynn, Homicide of course attacked Jerry Lynn to screw him over out of his possible final revenge over Steve Corino. So in about that, a good heat and decent wrestling, Jerry Lynn drew with Homicide in 12:43, following a double countout. This was our wild brawl. This gets a 53, Lynn gets a 47, Homicide gets a 49, and of course, them continuing to brawl, but in the end, Lynn gets Homicide, and boom, Cried a pile driver through a fucking table. That gets a 51, and Jerry Lynn, you know, sort of, you know, celebrates getting a measure of revenge over Homicide. Then in our storytelling match, in a decent match, Roderick Strong and Chris Hero defeated the Havana Pitbulls in 15:09 when Chris Hero pinned Rocky Romero with a Hero's Welcome. Strong and Hero win the MLW Global Tag Team Crown titles, so a big win for Strong and Hero in the Havana Pitbulls' reign. This gets a 47, Hero gets a 37, Strong gets a 47, Romero gets a 35, and Rice gets a 47, and Strong and Hero celebrating gets a 40. Then we have our Crown of Thorns match. Oh, god damn it. This is just not my night. So this was supposed to be a Crown of Thorns match, but I forgot to actually pre-book the actual match. So pretend this is a Crown of Thorns match where basically a Crown of Thorns is set, like, you know, on basically a pole, and the idea is you crown your opponent and keep him down on the mat for 10 seconds. So just pretend that happened, as any bout had a good heat and decent wrestling. Ekmo defeated Sabu in 10:09 when Sabu could not beat a 10 count after a Samoan slash. Oh, no, okay. This was the Crown of Thorns. I just didn't name it correctly. Okay. So, yeah. Ekmo wins. He, you know, beats the Crown of Thorns, plants it on Sabu after a big Samoan drop, and Sabu cannot get up after the 10 count. This gets a 52, and Ekmo celebrates in a 69. And then in our main event of the evening, in a bout that had superb wrestling and great heat, Bryan Danielson defeated Nigel McGuinness in 35:04 by submission with cattle mutilation. Go back and watch any great Bryan Danielson and Nigel McGuinness match. That's what this was, back and forth, headbutts, big shots, suplexes, mat wrestling. But in the end, Bryan Danielson proves once again he is the best in the world, even if he's quite of an asshole about it, and gets a submission victory right in the middle of the ring. Danielson gets a 65, Nigel gets a 63. Let's see what actually hurt this. Okay, low heat, emotional high, okay. But Danielson at the end, breathing, wheezing, celebrates, says he's still the best in the world, and calls it low-key for a world title match soon. Okay, and overall, this gets a 59. So, let's see here. Let's give Low-Ki for good performance. Let's give it to Nigel for good performance. And let's give it to Jerry Lynn for a good performance. So this will be the end of the year. So I'll go through that, and also go through basically a year of popularity changes and some other stuff as far as the company, and we'll see what happens here. So just to test things out, let's end of year processing. Wow. Okay. This is going to take a second. Doo-ba-doo-ba-doo. Just waiting here. I actually wonder, obviously we won't win any because we're basically a small fed. But I wonder, what's the last couple ones has done to everybody's popularity. It should be interesting. And there's Danielson's, of course, stats. He's really good at everything because he's Bryan Danielson. And okay, Triple H is Wrestler of the Year. Let's just see what his year looked at like. I see this happen with everything. Okay, at least it's Trish Stratus this time. So match history. Let's see, any title matches? Okay, so yeah, he's world champion, and yeah, he's been in a bunch of 99 100s. Of course, he has. Company of the year is WWE. Team of the year is Eddie Guerrero and Kurt Angle. Match of the year is Undertaker and John Cena defeating Kurt Angle and Eddie Guerrero. And show of the year is Unforgiven. So let's just look at that real quick. Where is that show? That's like September. So yeah. Show itself gets a 96. Triple H defeats RVD and Shawn Michaels in a 99. Booker T defeats Stevie Richards in 81. Randy Orton and William Regal defeat Venus and Storm in 96. Gail Kim defeats Stacey, Miss Jackie, and Victoria in 81. Molly Holly defeats Jacqueline in 79. Matt Hardy defeats Maven in 80. Yeah, fun stuff. And okay, this is a wacky six-man. Nichelle Mario, who's Psychosis. Al Snow and Rico defeat Ken Shamrock, Hurricane, and Rosie. Okay, that's just wacky. And Spike Dudley defeats Rodney Mack and John Howard. Okay, cool. Young Wrestler of the Year is Randy Orton. Veteran Wrestler is Scott Hall. Female Wrestler of the Year is Trish Stratus. Most Improved is TNA. Independent Wrestler of the Year is Sting. Manager of the Year is Ric Flair. Announcer of the Year is Jim Ross. And Killer Commentator of the Year is Jerry Lawler. And Referee of the Year is Earl Hebner. So, if we look at our company, first, let's look at our size real quick. So, we started the year at 14 in both of these, Grand Lakes, Mid-Atlantic, Mid-South. So, up to 19, 22 in the Mid-Atlantic, 18 in the Mid-South. We're up to 12 in the Mid-South. We're up to 17 in the New England. We're at a 4 in Northwest. We're at a 45 in the Southeast. We're up to a 15 in the Southwest. We're up to a 42 in the Tri-State. And I'm sure at zeros in Puerto Rico and Hawaii. So yeah, still need to gain some popularity in Great Lakes, Mid-Atlantic, or Mid-South. So that's interesting. To go over our titles for the year. So of course, let's just look at defenses. So Steve Corino started the year as champion. He defeated Terry Funk and Sabu at Reloaded. Then he defeated Raven at Crazy Crazy Nights. He defeated Sabu at Revolutions. He defeated Jerry Lynn at Hybrid Hell. Then he defeated Steve Williams at both Summer Apocalypse and Philadelphia Freedom. And then, of course, he lost the title in the 5-way, also involving Chris Hero, Nigel McGuinness, and Roderick Strong. And like you just saw, Low-Ki successfully defended the title against Matt Sydal and Jason Cross. So then, if we look at the World Junior Heavyweight title, Sanjay Dutt started the year as champion. He defeated Low-Ki at Reloaded. He defeated Michael Modest at Crazy Crazy Nights. Low-Ki then won the title at Revolutions. Low-Ki successfully defended the title at Underground against Puma. He defeated Nigel McGuinness to retain the title at Hybrid Hell, and then he successfully defended the title against Michael Modest and Amazing Red at Summer Apocalypse. Then on Underground, Amazing Red won the title. Amazing Red defeated Jason Cross at Devil's Night. Averno defeated Amazing Red for the title at Fade to Black, and Averno defeated Michael Modest at Underground, and then Averno won the ladder match. And so let's just track Prestige. So yeah, up to 43, and for the world title, it's up to down to 68, which makes sense because it started really high. Then if we look at the world title, the Extreme Horsemen started the year as they defeated the Samoan Island Tribe, the SATs, and Havana Pitbulls at Reloaded to retain the titles. And then, because this was not the Extreme Horsemen, this was CW, because then CW left. Okay, yeah. So CW left, but then Simon Diamond teamed up with D'Lo Brown, defeated Nigel and Roderick to win the titles at Crazy Crazy Nights. Simon and D'Lo defeated Nigel and Roderick again in rematch at Revolutions. SAT defeated Simon and D'Lo at Hybrid Hell. Then SATs defeated Havana Pitbulls and T. Wilson and Jack Evans at Summer Apocalypse. Havana Pitbulls won the title for SAT at Underground. Then they defeated Jack Evans and TJ Wilson at Devil's Night. Then they defeated Harry Smith and Teddy Hart at Fade to Black. And then, of course, Roderick Strong Chris Hero won the titles back. So we look at the Prestige. Oops, that's the wrong thing. We track the Prestige. It's actually dropped a point. Interesting. Let's see here. Top 100s. Summer Apocalypse was our best show. Devil's Night was number 2 at 59. Fade to Black was 57. Where even was... King of Fiends was our 4th best show out of 59. And then if we look at matches, so best match was still Corino versus Williams. Second best match was that random Low-Ki Simon Diamond match, which got a 66. War Games match was number 3. Number 4 was Low-Ki and Matt Sydal defeating Steve Corino and Simon Diamond in random taping in December. Steve Corino defeating Jerry Lynn at Hybrid Hell was number 5. Low-Ki defeating that Low-Ki title wins was number 6. And yeah, interesting. So then, let's look at our actual roster to go over stuff. So let's just, again, do this by sort of perception. So, Bryan Danielson started the year all at 40s. He's up to a 54 in the Southeast, 53 in the Tri-State, mid-40s everywhere else. Ekmo's really been my, he was in 35s. Now he's up to mid-40s in most places, or low 40s. Homicide entering because he started at 17. He's up to a 42 in Great Lakes and Mid-Atlantic. He's up to a 30 in the Mid-South, up to 42 in the Midwest, 30 and 31 in the Northwest, 49 in the Southeast. Obviously, a lot of this is also, where else is he working? Yeah, he's also working in places like ROH and PWG, so that's also interesting. Low-Ki, we look at his popularity. He's up from a 24 up to almost basically 50 everywhere and up to a 53 in the Southeast. Nigel is up from basically no popularity up to 29, 29s, 23s, and 22s, up to 42 in the Mid-Atlantic, up to 47 Southeast, and 42 in Tri-State. Simon Diamond is up to mid-50s from 22, basically almost everywhere. Steve Corino, who started at 25 everywhere, and he's up to a 48 in the Southeast, 39 in the Tri-State, 20s in Northwest, high 30s everywhere else. Then if we go down to stars, Averno's popularity basically has shot up since I signed up to mid-40s almost everywhere, up to a 50 in Southeast, 54 in the Southwest. Jason Cross is up to mid-40s after having basically no popularity. Jerry Lynn's, I think, actually, yeah, he's basically bounced between 40s and mid-30s. Sabu, I think have I heard him? Not really. He's basically high 40s, low 50s everywhere. Amazing Red, again from 22 up to either low 40s or high 30s. And let's see, is there anybody else we really care about? Well-knowns, Chris Hero. Yeah, Chris Hero has built himself up to either mid-30s or low 20s in most places where I have coverage. Did I miss? Hold on. Did I miss? Roderick. Roderick, okay. So Roderick, interesting, because like he's up to a 41 in the Southeast, but he just basically has no popularity anywhere else, which is interesting. I think that's about all I care about. Like everybody else is like slowly but surely. So, oh yeah, one other thing is we finally have merchandise, and last month, so Sabu, Low-Ki, Simon Diamond, Jerry Lynn, Amazing Red, Matt Seidel, Bryan Danielson, Nigel McGuinness, Ekmo, and Jason Cross are our top 10 merch people. And I think that's it. Storytelling, announcing. I'm sure I am forgetting something obvious to show you guys. Size, roster, titles, storyline. Oh, right, creative. So creative-wise, Bryan's number 1, Simon's number 2, Low-Ki's number 3, Nigel's number 4, Corino's number 5. Next big things is Matt Seidel and Puma. Talk the Talk is Corino, Diamond, Terry Funk, Nigel, and JJ. Who's Hot is Homicide, Ekmo, Corino, Low-Ki, and Nigel. Who's Not is Delirious, Jason Cross, and Sanjay Dutt. So yeah, that's it. It's a much longer video than I thought it was, in part because of that extra show I had to book, and also because I kind of forgot this was the end of the year. But that's it for now, so thanks for watching. If you liked it, go down to the like, comment below what you're enjoying and not enjoying, and subscribe to the channel for lots of TEW 2020 content, including this, my WCW 2001 series, now heading towards Halloween after 2003, my WCW 1983 series with no Eric Bischoff, my Women's Revolution 2010 series, and lots more. But that's it for now, so I'll talk to you later, and adios.